Hello, welcome. It's UK Cowboys TV. As you can tell from the intro that we've done there, it's not just the post-game show, it's a Thanksgiving extravaganza. Yay! So that should help raise a few smiles after the wet weather, crappy, pissy game we had yesterday. But as you can see, we've got 4 of us here today. So it's the post-game show versus the pre-game show. Yeah, it's not always a battle, but today it is. So I'll ask the question straight off the bat before we get into the Patriots game. I'll start with you, LDW. What's your plans for Thanksgiving? You got any plans for Thursday?
No, I have an 8-month-old baby, so I don't make plans. I just do as he tells me.
You got any plans?
Yes, it involved football, so that's a bonus.
The Cowboys are playing. That's the main one. Yeah. You got any plans, Brian?
No, literally, I'm going to watch the Cowboys game. A few beers, maybe a sneaky whiskey, and that'll be about it.
All right. And what I sing with you, Jay?
Yeah, luckily I've got the rest of the week off because I'm going to the snooker in York Wednesday. It was Christmas present I got my dad last year. It's the UK Championship, so all week, rest of the week off. So it'll be beer from Wednesday right through the week now.
I've got a Saints fan, a Seahawks fan, that you know, Lo, a Seahawks fan, 49ers fan, another Cowboys fan, and somebody else I'm forgetting. That's it. And then so lots of booze, and then wake up Friday, seeing the house is just a wreck. But yeah, let's get into the post-game side of the show, and then I'll let you take over, LD. So the Cowboys yesterday in that extremely wet condition lost to the Patriots at Gillette Stadium 9-13. So we'll start off with a bit of injury news. So the only things, I mean, unless any of you guys have spotted anything that's come out, Jeff Heath obviously has turned up with a shoulder. I don't know how bad that is. I mean, we'll find out more as the week develops. Leighton Van Der Esch and Donovan Wilson still on there as well. Any of those guys concerning any of you? I'll start with you, LD.
Well, I thought Heath looked like he was playing hurt yesterday. I mean, he's still playing hard, but that massive hit he had in the fourth quarter looked like it knocked the wind out of him a bit. Like to hopefully get him back. I'd be surprised if Van Der Esch was back. It doesn't sound like he'll be back for the Thursday's game. But yeah, hopefully we can get Heath taped up and good to go. Okay.
Any of you guys, Jamie? Are you in the same boat there?
Yeah, except we seem to be missing Van Der Esch quite a bit. I say it's just a shame he's got these niggling injuries. But rather have him now than if we do make the playoffs and miss time in the playoffs.
Yeah. Same there, Brian.
Well, as the president of the Jeff Heath fan club, I can only hope he's fit and ready to go for Thursday. Like, I saw that hit, and I've suffered from shoulder injuries over the years, and I winced when I saw it. That just looked like he'd either popped his shoulder or he popped his rotator cuff. And like we said this pre-season, we're paper thin at safety. Donovan Wilson doesn't look like he's going to be able to play on Thursday, so you're looking at having Darian Thompson and Xavier Woods, and that's it if Heath is out. You know, it's just like we're reasonably covered at linebacker, but we've nothing at safety if God forbid Heath is out. You know, otherwise you're looking at switching Byron back, and then you're thin at cornerback.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be deadly of a pickle, but we'll get to the Bills' offense later on in the show. But go back to my hostess. Obviously, the rain game showing his colours for sure for the offense. Anyway, but is there an offensive MVP that you've got for the Cowboys?
Oh, I mean, I thought Zeke played fine. I wouldn't say MVP quality, but he was fine. Gallup, when he was involved, looked decent. But I think on the performance, there wasn't much standout on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Okay, Bright, who have you got, mate? Anyone?
I'm with Lauren. Like, I wouldn't give any of them an MVP. I thought they were all awful. You know, I was kind of thinking on the way home, was there anyone worth it? And probably Zeke is about it. You know, did what he could. I think it's something we need to really start looking at as our roll line. They've been atrocious. So yeah, Zeke, possibly Dak, but that's it.
All right, Jamie, got an MVP?
Yeah, I think same as Lauren and Brian. Nobody really stood out. I think if we wouldn't have gone away from the run, I think Zeke probably would have got it hands down. But
yeah,
the typical Cowboys who went away from the run.
Yeah. I mean, well, this is one thing we'll go straight into is the O-line. The issues, the penalties. I mean, Tyron Smith at the moment having a bit of a mare. Came away in that game, although one of them was one of the odd trip penalties. He came away with 3 penalties in that game. So I go back to you, ladies first, as they say, O-line issues. So is there anything that concerns you with this O-line going forward or what we've seen so far this season?
Probably not even just particularly the O-line, but across the team. It's these constant penalties and it's just sloppiness. You know, we're forever shooting ourselves in the foot. And for some reason, this team just isn't built to come back from any errors they make. You know, we're obviously all our games are on these fine margins and, you know, we can't keep on constantly turning over the ball or giving away 5 yards, 10 yards on penalties all the time. And we saw yesterday a big impact, knock-on effect it had with one of the Tyrone penalties, and then the mess up by Ventrell Bryant, and it just gave the Pats the ball back again. So yes, it's a concern, but it's a team-wide issue rather than just O-line in terms of the penalties, I think.
Yeah. Are you the same there, Brian?
Yeah, no, I'd fully agree. Lawrence nailed it there.
Yeah. Okay, Jay. I'll go with you, but I'll sort of dig deeper into the question. The issue with the tripping penalty, were they trip calls?
I think if you look at kind of across the whole now, what constitutes a penalty and what doesn't. The rule book's so wide open now that you can get a penalty for anything, can't you?
Yeah.
I don't know anymore. And that's a crap answer, mate. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it could be a tripping call this week and next week. The same thing could happen and they won't flag it.
Yeah. It's consistency with the calls is really what you're looking for. But here's one that's going to be quite controversial, which I'm going straight to Lauren for. On 4th down, late in the game, should they have gone for it or gone for the kick and then hopefully, because, I mean, bear in mind, the defense has kept the Patriots at bay for the most part of that game. So was that a good call or a bad call in your opinion?
I think it's one of those. It's a bad call because it, didn't come off. If it had come off, it would have been a good call. It's not. I'm certainly. I don't feel particularly strongly either way. For me, I would have gone for it there, but I can see why they didn't. And the defense were playing well. But damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think Rich said on Facebook, and I think it is one of those calls, really.
Yeah, like you say, it's the hero or the zero situation. If you do the kick and then you get the ball back and win, then it was an amazing call. If you don't, you're in the situation. Are you in the same opinion, Bri, or do you think
I am? But like what baffled me about it was we ran on first and tried passing on second and third down. Like Zeke was making an impact. Give him the ball. Just give him the ball on second down. The team is built for the run. Just give it to him. And I just felt it's typical Garrett. It's conservatism. I'll play the percentages. He's not going to miss a kick, but we'll get another chance. For me, it's try and punch it in, or you're going to keep them inside their own 5-yard line, and you're making them go 95 yards down the field, whereas that's what ended up happening to us, and we couldn't do it. If you punch in a touchdown there, you still have a chance potentially to win the game with a field goal, but we didn't have it.
No.
And that was the disheartening thing. But I agree, damned if you don't.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same opinion. Are you the same there, Jay?
Yeah, I think it was a scrappy game. So it just needed something maybe to kick it into the next year. And I say the old saying, no guts, no glory. So I would have liked to have seen him gone for it, but couldn't understand why. They didn't like Laura said. You know what I mean? If you go for it and you get it, you know what I mean? It's a masterstroke. If not, then pretty much 95% of Cowboys Nation is carrying on because we went for it and didn't go for it. So just more for because it was a scrappy game. So it would have been nice to see us go a bit unconservative, if that's even a word.
Yeah. No, I'll go with that. If it's not a word, we've just made one, and it worked.
Old Yorkshire.
But on one side of the ball, the defense, as we were just mentioning, they were actually quite decent, even in they were getting short fields. I know, obviously, the weather permitting helped as well. But have you got a defensive MVP there, then, Lauren?
I mean, I'm a big Tank fan. I think he gets disrespected quite a lot by a significant amount of the fan base just because he's not on 10 sacks, but he's so disruptive. I mean, he's in and around the quarterback, even if he's not actually sacking him. He's still causing disruption. So, it was a pretty shoddy game all round. But Tank was there making plays, so I'll go with him.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, where we looking? Come away with 5 tackles and a tackle for a loss. So yeah, and I mean, in a game where it was more on the ground, and that's where Tank pretty much makes his money. But Bri, got a defensive MVP, mate?
I'd echo what Lauren says again about Tank, but I'll go for Jalen Smith. He seemed to anticipate a lot of what was going on, made intelligent decisions around him, and again, he's been the most consistent and outstanding player we've had all year.
Okay. Jamie, have you got a defensive MVP? Anyone different?
Yeah, probably echo Lawrence. Maybe Lawrence could say we were a bit shoddy against the run at times, but they say when Brady had ball in hand, I mean, we weren't giving him a lot of time, and we might not have got to him all the time, but we were affecting the pass at times. Yeah. So say it's hard because it was such a shoddy game, like you say. So I don't think we could really see what this defense could have done against that quarterback. But I mean, they kept him fairly quiet. So and I think Tank had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, and you can't forget that the Patriots O-line's slowly coming back up to what expectations were before the season. But the turnovers, we're now on -2 in turnover differential. Is it a concern then, Lauren, that they're still not getting the takeaways?
Absolutely, it's been a concern for this team. I think we harp on about it every episode. I've lost track now of how. When's the last time we had a player that can go and get his hand on the ball regularly? We're just crying out for it year in, year out, and nothing changes.
Yeah. Okay. Concern for you still, Brian?
Yeah, it is. It's massive. Like, I mean, the fact that we're in minus figures and we're 11 games into the season, it's just not good enough. You were hoping last night, right, the defense performed very well. You're hoping for a big play, but you're just looking and going, who's going to make that big play? And I couldn't name one person that I thought would make it. You know, so yeah.
All right, and Jamie, I know me and you have spoken at length about this, but I'll ask you. I'll ask you again. Have you got is it still considered? I think we rank because we started to do a bit better. I've written it down somewhere. I think we ranked maybe 24th in turnover differential.
Yeah,
I've written it down somewhere. I mean,
it's
20th we ranked.
No. It's not good enough. Do you know what I mean? You need to be. You need to be turning that ball over. I mean, you know what I mean? If it's getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands or the receiver's hands, or interceptions, like I say, we God knows how. I mean, I bet if you look through every single episode, both the pre and post game shows, it's one of the things that we probably consistently harp on about. It's just not good enough, and like honestly, we've been screaming out for years for. Do you know what I mean? For someone who can get that ball out of the air on the defensive side, and even a run stuffer. Do you know what I mean? To try and get the ball out that way, and it's just we just haven't got that kind of player.
Yeah.
It is.
Ironically, they're the sort of guys that the Bills have got.
Yeah.
Which leads nicely to a segue. Do you want to do the mailbag at the end of your section at the very end, LD? Does that work for you?
Yeah, I don't mind, whatever. I haven't got the questions in front of me, so if you pick them up after.
I'll get questions up, and I'll let you take over the reins and do the pre-game show.
Cool.
So
right. Let's try and have a bit of positivity. It's hard after doing it so soon after last night's game. So we're off back at home against the 8-3 Bills. Are we surprised at how the Bills have fared so far this season?
Yeah.
Mike, we'll go with you. Go for
it. Yeah. I mean, this is a team that is the AFC East consists of Patriots, and that's it.
Yeah.
And for them to do as well as they've done, especially with the quarterback that they've got, because I always say quarterback, 99% of a quarterback's game is between the ears, and Josh just does not have it between the ears, and you see it. I mean, I was I know we've got like very good friends, in fact, from UK Bills, so I maybe should edit that out, but but no, I mean that's it is surprising. The thing that's carrying them at the moment is their defense and the special teams, very much like the Patriots, really. Defense and special teams are what's carrying them forward.
Yeah, so they're 8-3. Their only losses have come against the Pats, the Eagles, and probably surprisingly most the Browns. Looking at them statistically, this is going to be battle of the defense between the Cowboys and the Bills. They're ranked 3rd in passing defense. We're surprisingly ranked 6th. They're 15th in rushing defense, and we're 16th. How are we going to beat them, Brian? What's our game plan got to be?
I think we just got to run it down their throats. I really do. I think it's a key. It's a game we have to go after and just run it down their throats and attack the middle, keep attacking the middle, because their numbers on defense are they're ridiculous. Like I just checked just while we were talking, they've something like 33 sacks.
Yeah,
that's crazy numbers. Like that's 3 a game. They've 7 or 8 interceptions. They've similar numbers in fumbles. It's a game where we've got to protect the ball and establish the run and just let Zeke go nuts.
Yeah. Probably there's a bit of a name worth highlighting. I know Jamie used to be a big favourite of yours, was actually a UK Cowboys fan favourite, but we've gone right off that hot sauce now. Mr. Cole Beasley will be returning to Dallas. Are we sensing a revenge game for him here? What do you reckon?
I think he's going to be all out to have his career game for the Bills, isn't he? I think he would have been chomping at the bit when the schedule came out, but I hope he has an absolute mare. I really do. He's burnt his bridges with the Cowboys fans.
So there's obviously Bees went to the Bills, and we picked up Randall Cobb from the Packers. So Beasley's got 4 touchdowns to Cobb's 3 this year. Beasley's averaging just under 50 yards a game, and Cobb's on nearly 60. Would anyone wish we still had Beasley over Cobb, or are we happy with Cobb? Mike?
Yeah, I mean, statistically, they're pretty much the same, really. Styles of play are different. The only difference between Cole and Cobb, it is the touchdown. But, Cobb's got the 2 fumbles, but they've got the same amount of drop passes as well, which is quite surprising with Cole, because Cole's renowned for being, a ball magnet, not dropping the ball. But they're both on 2 drop passes. So, I mean, basically, the styles of the game are the same. The only thing I will say is Cobb in the last sort of 2 or 3 games seems to there's that connection all of a sudden,
Yeah. He seems to be making an impact, perhaps a bit more regularly than what Cole did with Dak.
Yeah.
Brian, Jamie, would any of you take Beasley back over Cobb?
Go on, Jamie.
No, I think, let's say, especially the last few weeks, Cobb's come on really well. And like I said, Dak's got, not that he didn't trust Beasley, but there seems to be something there, and he seems to be picking the right passes off Dak to Cobb. So I wouldn't change it personally.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago, if you'd asked me this question, I would have said I'd take Beasley, but the connection seems to be coming together now with Dak and Randall Cobb. So I take Cobb just about, but ask me tomorrow, I'd probably tell you I'd take Beasley.
Well, this is very much Bills are kind of like built on their defense. Offensively, I mean, Josh Allen's the leading touchdown scorer. He's got 7 rushing touchdowns. John Brown making himself a bit of a nuisance. He's got 5. I think there's a couple for Gore and Singletary. Not much to write home about in the rush game, but it was good to see. I mean, I think most people like Frank Gore and what he's done, so it was good to see him overtake Barry Sanders yesterday for rushing yards. How are we going to stop Josh Allen? Is that going to be the key to stopping them offensively?
I think it's going to go back to these stats that Mike talked about in the preseason game, or one of our preseason shows about Josh Allen and trying to get him to throw short passes. That is, his rating was down at something like 20.
Yeah,
for intermediate routes. That's what we got to do. Take away the deep ball on him, make him throw short and intermediate routes, and he will crumble.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the thing is his mobility that's more scary than his passing, and unfortunately for the Cowboys' defense, we struggle against the run. So
yeah.
And you were talking about Singletary. I mean, he's on just over 400 yards for the season, but 180 yards of that come in the last 2 games.
Yeah, he's fast. He's very quick.
Yeah. So I mean, that it's an awkward one, because I'm trying to think of how what you would do. Do you contain him and not go for the sack because you're worried about overrunning him because he's so mobile?
Yeah. I mean, that's been we haven't really faced a quarterback like him so far this year. He's probably going to be the most mobile one we've come up against, really. And I'd say my biggest concern with our linebackers has been the overshooting of the tackles sometimes. And again, that's probably coming with the lack of pressure we're getting through the middle.
Yeah.
Make him sit. I don't know, that he's been sacked 23 times this year. So bit of Quinn, Lawrence and Bennett through the middle, maybe.
Yeah.
See what they can do. What about on the flip side then? Their defense is pretty tasty. Tre'Davious White, 4 interceptions. Jordan Phillips, 7 sacks. Shaq Lawson, 5 sacks.
Yeah. It just goes on, doesn't it?
Got
Yeah.
playmakers all around.
And ironically, like statistically, they you'd say statistically, oh, that's a good defense. I would say that isn't a true picture of their defense. It's probably better than what it looks like statistically, you know?
Yeah.
They, you could tell that that's the route they went in the draft because they just went out and got more defensive players, you know?
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Ed Oliver, there's a guy who's probably a guy that would slot in nicely for the Cowboys. Who's just that kind of eat up space in the middle, or even Shaq Lawson.
Yeah, definitely. Who's our well, let's start with the Bills D then. Who's our man to watch for each of you? Who's your danger man, so to speak, on the Bills defense? Brian, let's start with you.
I'm going to go for a name that we haven't called out yet. It's Jordan Poyer. He always seems to be around the ball. He seems to make big plays. He's one of the leaders on their defense. Now his numbers might not stack up against the others, but he just seems to have an impact and just that ability to keep the Bills in the game. So he'd be my one to watch.
Good shout. What about you, Jamie?
Say Edmonds has put himself about a bit this year, but you mentioned him earlier, Tre'Davious White. When he came out of the draft, he was one of my favourites, and it was somebody I was hoping would fall to the Cowboys, and he's shown that he's going to be a really good player in this league. So I'd probably I'd go with White.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
I would say why, because obviously that's the obvious. And being a Texas A&M fan, I've seen plenty of him, playing. LSU guy. So you can't complain with LSU defensive backs at the end of the day. I mean, they're doing it again this year. We mentioned Ed Oliver, Shaq Lawson. You mentioned Poyer. So I think the only other guy who's a threat is one of the linebackers from Boston College a few years ago, Matt Milano.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, he's a guy. He's very much like our Jalen Smith, who's always sniffing around the ball, getting his face in there, getting dirty. So he's going to be my guy.
Yep, good shout. Are we going to get a bounce back game for Amari Cooper? Obviously, 0 receptions, 0 yards last night. I mean, he was very unlucky that with the diving catch, really close to getting a reception there. I don't know how the Bills operate, if they're going to have to put a man on him and follow him around. Can we expect a big game back from him? I mean, to be fair, Cooper's probably someone who doesn't care as long as we get the win.
Yeah, that's the great thing about Cooper. If he caught no ball at all, he wouldn't care so long as we won. And it's great to see. I don't think we're going to have a huge bounce back game from him. I think it might be a game where he goes for 100 or 120 yards, maybe a touchdown. But, in terms of a huge Amari Cooper game, I don't think we're going to get that.
Okay, let's flip it then. So we've done the Bills D. Let's go to the Cowboys offense. Who's going to be our man to watch? Brian, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I said it already, Zeke. It's got to be Zeke this week. I think the run has started to come back a bit, and I think it's a game where you can't throw the ball wild or fast and loose. I think it's a game where we got to protect the ball, and that means running it through Zeke. If that's 30 times in the game, I don't care. Protect the damn ball.
Yeah. Jamie, you with that?
Yeah, probably won't say. I'm not going to go player. It probably sounds very cliche, but stick with what's working well. If the run's working, stick with the run. Last night the run was working, and we did a typical Cowboys thing. We went away from it, and then the game just fell away. If the run's not working and Dak's balling out and he's getting to receivers, stick with the passing game. Like I said, just stick with what works. I know it sounds boring and so cliche, but we're getting to that point of the season now where losses are going to start hurting now. We're getting to the business end. So if, like I say, whichever's working, as long as we get the win, just let's just keep with what we're going. Don't just start pissing about and changing it, and let's see what else works.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike? Who's your
I
man?
was going to say the same. I was going to say more rather than a running game. So I think that it's going to be on the so you're talking Dax mobility, Zeke, and Pollard. And throw a bit of Tavon Austin in there as well. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go Dak just to be different. So I'm going to say Dak, but more of the running game that he can provide.
Yeah, I feel we've eased off on that a bit with Dak this year. He's improved tenfold, hasn't he? I mean, he's looked. Obviously, last night wasn't his greatest game, but then whose was it? He's looked good this year. But if we can get him running a bit more, that would be nice. Okay, then. Bill's offense. Is there anyone other than Cole Beasley we're looking at in this game?
I know Mike gave him a bit of stick earlier, but I do like Allen. He's took that step from last year, but like you say, if he gets out of the pocket, then that's where he's gonna potentially hurt us. So I'd probably be looking at Allen. On the side of the ball.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to look at John Brown. I think, for a guy who's nearly 900 yards receiving and he's not even been talked about.
Yeah.
It's scary, and our cornerbacks are giving up significant yards this year. It's frightening how much they give up. And if Josh Allen starts uncorking, we could be in trouble.
Yep.
I think I'll go with a guy we mentioned earlier, Singletary. Purely on the basis because our run defense at the moment is just getting shredded, and even Stoney Michel had a good game. He's been fairly quiet on the season. I know that's the Patriots running backs for you, but I think Singletary will have a good game. They'll sprinkle a bit of Gore in there, because of who he is. He doesn't seem to, it's like an armored tank. He never wants to stop, and the guy's like 98 years old, and he's still. Impressive for the position. That's more. I think the fact that he's playing at such a late age, that's probably more impressive than the fact that he's taken over Barry Sanders.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, then. So how are the Cowboys going to stop those Bills danger men on defense? Who's our key man? Mike, let's start with you this time.
It's got to be the defensive line. The defensive line is where it's going to start. And then if they can get pressure, they can contain Allen, contain Singletary, the rest will fall into place.
Yeah. Jamie?
Yeah, I agree. Get that pressure up the middle. I'd say keep Allen in the pocket. And I think the rest of the defensive game plan will fall in nicely.
Yeah, I'll echo that as well. But I'd also like to see the linebackers play very, very smart this week. And as much as we want the defensive line to contain and keep Josh Allen in the pocket, we want to see the linebackers hold their position in the middle of the field and not rush. Because if they do and get attracted on honeypot on the ball, Josh Allen could start carving them asunder. And I prefer to see them contain and just, if it's 4 or 5 yards, make Josh Allen make that throw. Not great at it.
I mean, so the Cowboys obviously still lead in the NFC East. The Eagles are a game behind. But the Eagles have statistically the easiest schedule now in the whole of the NFL. And we don't, obviously. Is it still the Cowboys to lose? Are we still confident we're going to make the playoffs?
Yes.
They can. Yeah. I'm with Brian. Yeah, they control their own destiny at this point.
Yeah. I mean, the Eagles looked pretty awful, haven't they, the last couple of games? So.
Oh yeah.
That certainly goes for us. What do you reckon, James? Is it going to come down to that game against the Eagles?
Yeah, I think I think it will do. Like I say, it's good to be in the position that it's in our own destiny, innit? And kind of not going off track. But I think what also kind of makes me happy is that they've got Carson Wentz at quarterback. Somebody said it earlier on. What is it? They guaranteed him 100 odd million in the next couple of years, and he's playing. And he's playing like he should be benched.
Yeah.
And the longer that keeps going, let them shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, if we can keep doing what we're doing, I say it's going to get to the point where they're just going to completely implode out there.
Yeah. Let's have our take then for the game. So Thursday's game against the Bills. What's our hot take? Be a prediction. It can be something that's going to happen. It can be a score.
Can I not do on this one this week, especially after my crappy hot take last week?
You can be the anti-hot take. You can be the cold take.
Okay, I'm going to go with a nice hot take here that'll put a smile on people's faces. I don't know how he's going to get it, but Zeke's going to go for a hat trick.
Ooh.
So I think maybe 2 on the ground and 1 receiving touchdown. I think that's the way I go. So that's mine.
That's an interesting one. I was just there going, when you started that off, Mike, I was going, damn you, you're going to take what I'm about to say. So my interesting hot take is we're gonna change our turnover numbers, and we're going to end up in a positive position by the end of this game. I think we're going to have a couple of fumbles and a couple of interceptions, and I think there is a potential. I'm not saying it's going to happen. There is a potential we will get a defensive touchdown. I think the game will end up 27-16 in our favour.
Nah.
Come on, Jamie. Give us a cold take.
Dak is going to throw for more than 300 yards, and he's going to have a rushing touchdown as well.
Ooh.
Nice. Mine was going to be Dak will have a rushing touchdown, but Josh Allen won't. How about that? Cool.
Yeah.
So we're kind of semi-positive now. So should we shoot over to the mailbag?
Yeah, all right then. I mean, the mailbag, mind you. Bear in mind, this is
going to bring us back down to earth. Let's just finish on low.
Yeah. Well, I'll do a question for you guys to bring it back up again. Okay. Jason's saying Keith O'Quinn. Does he live to see the Thanksgiving game as a coach? So that's the special teams coach. I'll start with you, Lauren.
I think he does because it's such a short turnaround.
Yeah. But I see what you get, with special teams being just like a complete pickle at the moment,
Special needs team.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the same, Brian? Is he staying?
Yeah, he'll survive the season. I don't think Jerry's going to make any changes before the end of this season. We all know Garrett's gone at the end of the season, and whoever comes in is going to want their own coaches. So, everyone's going to change at that stage.
Yeah. You think the same, Jay?
Yeah, I think if we'd have had a losing record at this stage of the year, then we might have seen some changes. But although we know there's parts of this team that's pretty broken, like I say, we're still the top of the East. It's still in our own destiny. So I don't think Jerry's going to want to upset the apple cart, is he really?
Yeah. Okay. Steve Mountford. He kind of we touched on it just now about our schedule in comparison to the Eagles, but what he's asking is based on the fact that Eagles have such an easy schedule going forward. Like they got the Dolphins, for instance, this week. Do you think we cannot afford to lose a single game this season based on that, Lauren?
The way that the Eagles are playing makes me feel a bit more confident that we could drop another game. But no, we can't be going in obviously with that attitude. We want to win every game from here on in. So let's see.
You thinking the same, Brian? Went out?
Yeah. The Eagles are giving me the warm and fuzzies. You know, they're just imploding all over themselves. Like, I mean, I watched the end of their game yesterday, and you were just seeing the stadium emptying out. You're seeing the fans booing, and I mean, we all know that the Eagles fans are the worst in the league. But, you know, they just gave up on their team yesterday, and you know, like Wentz just looks like a shadow of the player he was 2 years ago. They don't have receivers. The running backs are falling at a rate of knots. They just can't score. You know.
So they put Jay.
The British
FLU
born Jay Ajayi.
Yes.
But no, like I'm going to give another hot take this week. I think the Dolphins might turn them over.
Woo! Love it.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
Love it.
I've said it out loud now, and it probably won't happen.
No, well, you say that, mind you, the Lions lost.
The Oracle.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to take back over. I mean, we'll leave that at the mailbag there. The rest are just more penalty questions, which we've already answered online.
Yeah.
So you want to finish us off then, Lauren?
Cool, yeah. So I think that's a wrap. So hopefully you'll be joining us. It'll be a different timed post-game show, I guess, next week.
Yeah.
We haven't worked that one out yet, but there will be a post-game show after the Bills. So be sure to follow us everywhere. We are UK Cowboys fans. This has been the UK Cowboys Fan TV show. I have been co-hosting tonight. I'm Lauren, and with Mike, and we've had Jamie and Brian with us. Follow us everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, we're there. We are UK Cowboys fans, the number one UK fan base in the UK for the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
And have a good Thanksgiving!
Happy Thanksgiving!